can with it.
Yeah, especially with this being new and really confusing.
I don't think we've got a whole lot of,
Oh my.
so this is just kind of a,
No.
so this would be a good place for a half section. Okay. You could do a full section. I don't know. Maybe I say in the instructions. Maybe I should read what I wrote. Complete the drawing for the step pulley. Your drawing should include a front view and half section profile view and a keyway detail view. So maybe I'm a little ambitious on this. So we'll see. And also indicate the surfaces for mandatory machining with that. We haven't even talked about that yet. So maybe for now, let me see. What am I grading here? Yeah, so let's not get into the surface texture stuff just yet because we haven't talked about it yet. So just stop right there. Does everybody understand? I'm going to relieve you of this surface texture mumbo jumbo here, so don't worry about it.
Feel free to move those lines down as far as you like.
Well, I still think we got to do. I think we need to do a front view, half section, and a keyway detail.
The keyway detail is the thing where it was like exploded out of it.
Yeah.
Or would that be you? That so we would just do the weird squiggly thing for the key detail.
So you're talking about the broken out section. It's a detail view, which is a little bit different. I don't think we've talked about it yet. So let's kind of work through this problem together if y'all want to.
Yes.
But again, I'm going to disregard the surface texture stuff, and we may have more of that. If you see more surface texture stuff on this week's work, I give you permission to ignore it because I don't want to get into surface textures today. All right, so let me get some AutoCAD going. And that's a metric part, so we'll start with our inch template when it comes up.
Don't do what he just said.
Yeah, don't do what he just said.
What?
He said start with the inch
It's a
template.
metric, so start with your inch.
Oh,
template.
okay. Well, let's start with the metric template then. Millimeter template. I said inch?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's record it. I may have to go back and listen and make sure I'm not full of. So this is really not too big of a problem here. I'm going to move it off to the side. So if you need to look at it, y'all want me to print it for y'all to have in front of you? That might help.
I would go.
I'll bring each of you one. Feel free to print any of these you want here.
We have 3 monitors, we'd be able to do it.
Yeah, you see one more. Our monitors are here, and I'm really surprised they haven't brought them over yet. So
Are the new ones like this?
yeah, it should be like what's across the hall.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Yeah. That's what I'm expecting anyway. I won't be disappointed with something else.
As much as I love these.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the face-on view looking at the keyway. The front view. Okay. This. All right, so what did we say? Start with the inch template? It's metric. All right. So I'm going to just start by just drawing the front view using the, 1, 2, 3, 4 circles, just the outside edges. So you guys can do that. I'm going to use the point diameter. So the outside there is actually the first hole there. I'm going to make it 32.3.
How do you know which number you're looking at?
And it really doesn't matter. You just use one or the other. When you have a limit tolerance like that in AutoCAD, I would choose one or the other. A lot of times if it's like 32 even and then plus some, I just use the even number. But it really doesn't make much difference. We'll apply the tolerance whichever way we need to make the dimensions work. So then the next one's 108. I'm just doing the outside ones. Actually, 75. Yeah, 140, that's right. And then I'm just going to use hidden lines for the other.
Why is your first one bigger?
I may be wrong.
I think you did that, it's supposed to be diameter, you put radius to it all.
Could have. They're all the right diameter. I thought I was using the diameter circle, but you may want to check yours. I just checked all these diameters and they seem to match.
Yeah, I used the diameter circle. And then,
The second one, if you just repeated with the enter key, it probably didn't include the diameter. Yeah, you have to watch that. So this part's round, so it really doesn't matter which way that keyway faces, period, at all. So I'm going to have mine going up. I'm going to include it in my cutting line. Yeah, watch your, if you use the circle diameter, pick it off the list, and then you do like the enter key to repeat it. It doesn't go into that diameter option again. It starts back with the radius. So just, yeah. Yeah, we can do some projecting here. And make sure you put them all in the same center point. I'm just going to kind of draw the normal orthographic views. Yeah, use all your skills. Well, check it out and see what you can tell.
So you got a circle there, how big is it? So it's not over one way? The diameter is indeed one way. So that's the very largest. Right. That's the second. And when I move, right. So your running object snaps are turned off over there. Okay. There we go.
Hey.
So we still add a student to a class?
I don't think so.
Cause he just got a job today. I was wondering. if
Trying to
he
get him
could
in
do
the internship.
Well, or you could just keep all the documentation and do it another semester and turn it in then.
That's probably the best case. But we won't offer you up to next spring, will
It can be an independent study at any time too.
we? Maybe we can do an independent term 2 study that starts in March.
Maybe.
I think that could be the best.
Okay.
Doesn't really work, but I don't even know who to start. Megan's trying to get somebody in class today.
Yeah. Yeah. that'd
But I think
probably
that
be
might,
easier
yeah,
route.
yeah, we could just do an independent study term 2.
Okay.
I think that'll work. I'd go ahead and get the paperwork moving on it.
Okay.
Starts in March, but you can go ahead and start. And, yeah. All right, thanks, sir. You're getting close. That stinks. So just to review for those at home, we opened up this metric keyway, and we want our keyway to have these dimensions. Our shaft was 32. So we used what we used was it? We used this row of data. So this is the width would be 10 minus these values. And then the height is in this range. So we used this number and we used this number, 10 minus that.
Why is it minus of both?
Because it can't be larger than 10.
Regardless, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not going to have to be exact.
Right. It'll be in
Well, it
between
wouldn't
those.
be exact.
It'll just fall in between those numbers, but it can't be any more than that 10 minus the 15. That's as big as that key can possibly, that opening can be, or there'll be some more, there'll be too much space in there and the key may fail prematurely or something. Might be nice whoever's putting it together to have a little bit more room. All right, so we drew that keyway in there, and to get a keyway detail, I'm going to switch to my dim view, and I'm going to draw a circle from the same center point, and I'm just going to bring it out some distance. I'm going to probably work it in between that hidden line and the object line there somewhere. And I am going to break that circle. So there's a little tool under modify here that we can break it. I'm going to break it, just somewhere down in here. It doesn't really have to be exactly anywhere there. And you remember how we draw arrows? How do we draw arrows? I'm going to use a polyline. It's going to start on this endpoint of the circle. I'm going to change the width. So my starting width is going to be 0. My ending width, I'm going to just make it 3.5. And I'm going to make it 12 long. I might rotate it just a little bit to kind of get it to line up better in the middle of that arc, but not like that. I got an object snap that bit me in the butt just then. Something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I want another one down here, so I'll do the same thing. Maybe I'll copy and rotate that one down. And I'm just using the rotate. Just watch your object snaps because they can kind of get you here. You can turn them off with F3. I made them 12. That's about a ½ inch long. I used a polyline. The starting width was 0. The ending width was 3.5, and I made them 12 long. And that number is not fixed in stone, but that's about the size of the arrows we put on our cutting lines. Yeah, the starting width is 0 to make the sharp point. What?
You repeat the dimensions there.
Yeah, so the starting width is 0, and the ending width is 3.5, I believe, and I made it 12 long. And I just kind of rotated it till it looked kind of nice. I want to put a piece of text right there. Whether you use single line or double line, it doesn't matter. The ending width is 3.5 and the length was 12. And I'm going to put a text of A just kind of in between those arrows. And that text should really be a little bit larger. So we'll make it 6. Try to. I believe that's really 6. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy just my keyway. Down here somewhere, and I'm going to scale that up. Let's scale that up 2 times, just so it's nice and big and beautiful like that. So I broke one of my rules. I said never draw anything not to scale. So that rule's broken here. And I'll go ahead and just add my center marks from the center line layer.
Double the scale?
I doubled it. Yep, made it twice as big as it really is. I'm going to copy my A text down underneath the view that I just created. And it's now going to say detail A. You can center it up, make it beautiful if you like. It just says detail A. And I'm going to put a second line of text underneath it that says scale 2:1. It's different than everything else. Why is that doing that like that? It's different text. So I've copied that over. Copied that and I've labeled it. So that circle with the arrows and the A is an indicator on the drawing that says there's a detail view. So that's how we do detail views. So we circle it, we put a letter in between the arrows, and then we label the view. I'm going to go ahead and place these dimensions on this view. So we want the diameter. And I may end up wanting to move it. And then we want the linear length of this. And then we want, the length from there to there. I think I'm going to move it to the other side of my front view. Somewhere over here. We may reposition as we start to put it on the sheet.
What would you?
Go ahead. Yeah.
When you drew your key.
Yeah. So you got your keyway, right? So you want to copy it. Don't draw it again. Copy it. Copy it, right? Just copy it and then scale it up. You don't want to do all that mess again. So I just copied it over to the side, and then I used the scale to scale it up. I got my label on there. But what's wrong with my dimensions? Everybody knows anything?
They don't have the minimum max.
Well, we don't have that. That's true. And they're wrong. How much are they wrong by?
Oh, by half, by double.
Yeah. Why is that? We scaled it, right? So, this is kind of one of those rules you don't like to break too often, but there's not a whole lot of ways around this. There is another way around this where you wouldn't have to do this, but I think we're going to do this. See if I can figure out which one of these properties it is. So I've selected all three of those dimensions and scroll down the properties palette until you get to the primary units area. And there's a dim scale linear. And right now it's 1, which means all your dimensions are measuring the full size. If we change that to 0.5, we're going to actually divide those numbers by 2, which will give us the right size, right? So another thing that you noticed is we weren't showing the tolerances. So I'm going to scroll down until I see the tolerance area. And in the tolerance display, we're going to change it from none to limits. And then the tolerance precision, we're going to play that to 2. So I applied all those changes to all three of those dimensions. Now I'm going to kind of work on them individually. I'll give everybody a chance to get caught up.
When you stretched, how did you stretch it by 2?
So I use scale. Scale right here. Yeah, scale. So pick scale and then pick all of it there. And then the base point is just the spot that's not going to move. If you put it in the center, then the center will stay put and the rest of it will get bigger. And just put a factor, just put 2 for the scale factor. So you're making it twice as big as it really is. There you go. So the hole diameter was given to us in the problem as
Down here, 2. That's good.
so you want it to look like this. Yeah, that's the scale factor. You pick a base point and then the scale factor of 2. So read your command line. What's it asking for right now? Okay, so you're finished selecting, so you have to right click to go to the next step. Now it's base point. That's the spot that's not going to move. Probably the center would be the best spot. And then the scale factor of 2.
Whatever units.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I ended up moving it because it got crowded right there. So you can move it, scoot it over the other side. That yours looks about right, I think. I think so. Yeah, move it on the other side, put those dimensions in there. And so I changed the dim linear scale to 0.5, which made it measure half of what it really is. I turned the tolerances to limits and I set the precision to 2 decimal places. And now I'm going to, I did that on all 3 of them. So I had all 3 dimensions selected. So I pressed escape and now I'm just going to work on this one. So this hole diameter in the problem is given to us as 32.3 to 32.34. So I'm going to put an upper limit tolerance of 0.4 and it's going to change that number. So I've got this one diameter selected. I go down back to the tolerance tab and the tolerance limit upper, I change to 0.04 and it adds that value to the dimension there. That one was straightforward. We had the numbers on the So I'm going to do the same thing with the width dimension. So now I'm going to clear that first one and pick the width. So this time we want, somehow I did something wrong because I got the wrong numbers. Oh, I just rounded 2. I'm okay. Yeah. So we want to go from, I'm going to change this one to 3 place decimals. So I'm just going to go back down to the tolerance and change the precision of this one to 3. It's supposed to be 949. Guess I drew it wrong to begin with. That stinks. Did y'all all say 995 too? Well, what we'll do is we will put a lower limit of 0.001. That should take it to 949. I put it on the upper. Put it on the wrong one. Be careful. The lower one, they're in reverse order. It makes sense to me. Now to go from 9.5, I need to put a upper one of 0.035. And that gets us to the numbers that I wrote down before. My drawing's a little bit off by like 1/100 of a millimeter, or 1,000th actually, 3rd decimal place. I'm not going to change it. I'm lying here with my dimension. I'm sorry, what's that? 0.035. So the top of that should have been I still got my calculator. So it should have been 32.3 plus 3.3, 35.6. So I'm getting the minus lower limit right on this dimension. Everybody got 35.6? So that's good. So on the upper limit of that, it should go up another 0.2 of a millimeter. So I'm going to pick that dimension and I'm going to the tolerance area, and on the upper limit, it's just going to be 0.2 millimeters. So it's 35.8 is the max, 35.6 is the min. And that's how we do a keyway detail. So we got detail A, here's view detail A, 2:1 scale. Dimensions are scaled up with the correct numbers that we got from the tables. So that's the detail view. Now we can get on to the section view stuff, right? So I'm going to start just with my cutting line, and I got that stuff in Canvas if you don't remember what it was, and I don't remember what it is in metric. So there's a module up here near the top that's got reference items. I can look at the cutting line. And I'm going to use those numbers to make a cutting line for a half section. So I'm going to start a polyline. I'm going to start it a little bit to the left of the quadrant above the front view. And I'm going to use the width option. And I'm going to use those variables. So the width should be 1.3. And then I'm going to track to the quadrant. Don't need to be a hidden line or a center line, but I'll change that in a minute. Don't panic. You know, if you realize something like that's wrong, don't panic. Just finish it and then change it. I'm going to put it in the dim layer. But I'm going to make sure it is a phantom line type. And now I'm going to put one arrowhead up here. So I'm going to use the polyline again. Use the width option. So for the thick end, it should be 4.8. Starting ending width is 0, and then the length is going to be 12.7. I'm just getting that off that sheet that we've been working on. So I'm going to change that to my dim layer. So we got our cutting line in there. For the metric, it's 1.3. And so now I'm just going to put a center line in here in my section view over here, because that's going to kind of define what's what. And now I'm just going to trim some stuff away. So I'm going to cut these vertical lines here like so. And I cut that line. So all these lines are going to turn into object lines. And now I'm going to cross hatch where the material belongs. With ANSI 31. And now I'm just going to dimension. So I'll start by dimensioning the width, you know, from front to back. You know, if we don't want to show these lower lines down here as hidden, we just erase them. You can put them in another layer if you wanted. You can make a new layer. I'm gonna call it hidden stuff. I'm just gonna turn that layer off. You don't have to, you can erase it, but if you wanted to just, it's there. I'm just gonna change it to a layer that's turned off. Yeah, I should have left those hidden lines in there because I'm glad I didn't erase mine. So I'm gonna need them to put my dimensions to. That wasn't very good advice I gave you, was it?
Forms of religion.
Sort of. Sort of. Okay, we have a SolidWorks has got a symmetrical. think we got everything there. We didn't really, just that one diameter went to a hidden line. Just got a few more minutes here. So, if you were hard set on not faking out the dimensions, you could create another viewport over here, which is just another window into the world, right? And you could zoom in to that keyway and set the scale to 2:1 or 1:1. No, what did we do? We did 2:1. 2:1, right? And you may want to turn layers on and off, and all that stuff. But now you've got that same, this is actually this keyway right here. And then you could dimension in paper space, I think, and get the right numbers. Yeah. That's another way that you can do it without having to scale up and lie about the dimensions. But you got to do a lot of dance with turning stuff off that you don't want to see. So that makes sense? Yeah. But I think for now, the simplest way is just to pull that stuff out in the detail view and scale it up and then dance with the dimensions. Remember the values we flirted with were the linear dim scale that's in the fit area. Actually, it's not in the fit area. It's in the primary units. So dim scale, we set to 0.5. And then we turned on the tolerances. So we see limits, and then we jockeyed individual tolerances a little bit more, showed enough precision, 2 decimal places. So anyway, that should get everybody moving good. I'm going to take this viewport back out, take my dimension back out. But you can poke as many holes in that sheet of paper with viewports as you like. We've been working with just one, but there's no reason you couldn't have as many as you want. So as y'all go through the rest of your class, you got more classes today, or y'all done today?
Mr. Treat's gone, so. My last class is trouble. All these classes are so long, I can only fit.
Yeah.
two in for one day.
Yeah, they do take some time, don't they?
Walk me through entering this tolerance, like for this width here.
Okay.
Mine says 10/10, what I've got.
Okay.
On there.
So I'm gonna pull yours up. We're gonna look at it together. So let's see here. All right, so you've got that one selected. It's got 10/10. So we don't have any precision. So down there where it says tolerance precision, you see that it's 0. So let's go ahead and give that one 3 decimal places. Okay, and now if you just kind of press escape so you can kind of see the number. So you've got 9899 and 9965. So you've already put some numbers in, I guess. So let's take those out and kind of see where we're at. So pick back on it and set those upper and lower limits back to 0. And let's just kind of see where we're at before we do any adjustment. Yeah. And now just kind of escape. So we're at 995, which is exactly where mine was at. So, it really should be 9949 for the lowest to 995.
Right.
So let's pick on that. And for the lower one, which is actually the first one you see on top, I wish they would put those in different places because I get them backwards every time. So the lower one should be 0.001. And that should, when you press enter, go to 949. Now the upper one we got from the table that it should be 985. 9985, which your width is truly 950. Does that make sense? So to go from 950 to 985, we're going to add 0.035, and that should get us to the 985. So on the upper limit there, yeah, change your number to 0.035. So we're putting the difference amount that we need to add to the real value. So if you press escape now, you'll see it. So you want for the other two dimensions, at least 2 decimal places precision. So you can pick them both and turn that on at the same time. Good. And now you need to manipulate them individually. So you can press escape and just work on whichever one you want. So
they change it.
So-
What causes that?
what's that?
What causes the change?
What change?
When we put it in decimal places, we went from 36.
So you went from 32.3 and then you went up from that 3.3. So that's why you got 35.6. Does that make sense? So that's where that 35.6 comes from. And so the 35.6 is correct, but we need to adjust the upper one up. So the limit for that dimension was 3.3 and 3.5. So the difference in 3.3 and 3.5 is just 0.2. So that upper one needs to go up 0.2. Yep. And now you got 35.8. The other one, the 32.3, I think it goes to 32.4. 3.4. So it just goes up 0.04. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you want a center mark in there.
That's correct.
Yep. But see how we just had to manipulate the decimal places that were showing, and that limits tolerance. Actually, just places the big one on top of the little one, which is most of the time that's the way I'm going to ask for tolerances. Sometimes you might see like a 10 plus or minus 0.01 or something like that. That's called symmetrical still limits. Yeah.
See where I am.
Yeah. Today's the kind of day you want to save frequently. And you're welcome in here all day long. Ain't nothing else happening in here today. Mr. Treat's not here. Y'all can just keep working. Y'all can probably get all 6 of them done. You're not all in Mr. Treat's class though, are you? That's just Zach's the only one who's got the day off, I guess.
Now I have a lot more work to do.
Yeah.